Hey you guys, it's MoNaCo here with our third homework video in our atomic theory unit. We are focusing on atoms versus ions today. In our previous video, we went over the subatomic particles, their charges, their masses, their locations. Today we're going to take that knowledge knowing that an atom is a neutral particle. It has the same number of protons and electrons, and we're going to compare it to an ion, which is not a neutral particle. It's a particle that has a positive or a negative charge, and therefore it comes with some new vocabulary, cation and anion. Okay, so let's look at a little bit of how, well, what an ion is and how it forms. Okay, so not everything in life has just a neutral charge. We have things that are positive and negative. Okay, we have positive thoughts, we have negative thoughts, but most of the time we are nice and neutral. Our positive and negative thoughts balance out. Well, if you look at an atom, they are also neutral. If you count up our protons, we have plus 3 protons. Why the plus? Because protons are positive. Okay. If we count up our electrons, which are in the orbital cloud here, we have negative 3 electrons. Why? Well, because electrons are negatively charged. If you add the plus 3 and the minus 3, good old-fashioned number line math, you get a 0 as our charge. That's why we call atoms neutral. They have no charge. They are neutral. They have no charge. Well, just like in life, you might gain negative thoughts or release negative thoughts. Atoms can gain negative particles or release negative particles. They can gain or lose electrons. So as a result, we count up our protons on the same situation. We call those ions. We call it plus 3 protons. That didn't change. But since we lost an electron, we now have negative 2 electrons. If you add that total up, you have a plus 1 is your overall charge. So we call an ion anything with a charge. In this case, it's a plus 1 charge, but it could be a minus 1 charge. It might be a plus 2. It must be a minus 2. Anything that has a charge is called an ion. So here's another good breakdown here of how a neutral atom becomes a positive or a negative ion. Cations are positive charge. Anions are negative charge. Put a little more here. Come on, computer. All right. So vocabulary terms and definitions. Neutral atom, previous video, atom with the same number of protons and electrons. 6 protons, 6 electrons, neutral carbon atom. Examples, well, right there. Carbon 12 has 6 protons, 6 neutrons. No charge is indicated. C, 12C6, okay? No charges are indicated. An ion, or an anion, a negative ion, is an atom that has gained 1 or more electrons. Therefore, electrons are greater than protons. I'm going to just put a little symbol in there. There we go. E negative, positive P. That's how I like to write them. Now, an example would be the negative 1 indicating a negative charge with a magnitude of 1. Something like this. If I drew a carbon with brackets around it and a negative 1 in the top, that is what we're talking about. That is an ion. As a matter of fact, it's an anion. Carbon doesn't usually form a negative bond. I just wanted to show you what that would look like. A cation is an atom that has lost 1 or more electrons. Positive protons are greater than negative electrons. That would look like something like this. Lithium with a positive 1 in the top corner. The 7 and the 3, that's the atomic mass and the atomic number. Notice how the positive 1 here indicates that there are more protons than electrons. A positive charge of the magnitude of 1. You can have a plus 1, you can have a plus 2, you can have a plus 3, 4, 5, many different variations on what charges you can have. So now, you got to know the difference between an atom and an ion, and understand those notations that we used to show atoms and ions. I'm going to draw a couple more as examples, some things that I like to do. You'll see it like this oftentimes, not necessarily with brackets. Sodium plus 1. On the other side of the periodic table, we get some chlorines with a negative 1, maybe a bromine with a negative 1. You might also see these same situations with brackets put around them. Those are all ions with the charges located in the top right corner. The plus 1, the minus 1s, those are all the selected oxidation states that an atom, rather an ion of a certain type, can form. So just know positive and negative ions can form. How they form? By gaining or losing electrons. That's really all the difference between an atom and an ion is. And the only way that the difference in the way we write them is by not including or including the charge in the top right corner. So by removing those charges, now I have neutral atoms for you to observe. Okay, so again, Those two right on the board right there. Lithium atom, but now it's a lithium ion. Sodium atom, but now it's a sodium ion. Many different ways to draw these, but you will always see the charge in the top right corner. Thanks all.